Guys, so here's a funny story. Apparently, Dusty, the faggot, and Coco, his disgusting girlfriend, who I guess they married at some point. I hope their marriage falls apart. I hope you both cheat on each other. I can't imagine that you guys would be loyal to each other after you literally robbed children and then helped re-victimize the adult versions of children that you and Unixmad, some foreigner in Europe, were robbing. Knowing full well what you're doing, and I talk to your fucking faggot faces. I talk to these fucking little faggots on Graulians.com in 20 fucking 15 and 16. So like it went on for a while. And all they did was run their mouth about me and about how I'm a piece of shit and I don't deserve to fucking exist. I don't deserve to be paid. My work doesn't belong to me. I'm allowed to be robbed. Children don't have rights. Dusty and Coco are allowed to get paid for the fucking faggot shit that they do. They're allowed to take the property that children create and sell it for themselves and get paid from that. But the children weren't allowed to do that. Dusty and Coco both stood on that goddamn hill and fucking died on it. They will never come back from it. I don't give a fuck who you are, what life you think you're going to fucking live, what good you think you've done in the world. Dusty and Coco are absolutely child predators. They are up there with Unixmad, 1010%. This idea that Dusty and Coco are just in the blue, they have no idea what they were doing, is a lie. You guys, I've been around longer than all of you. I will know more than you will ever know. Dusty and Coco were hanging around on Graulians.com before Unixmad took it over in 2015 and 2016. And I came back and I told them, I said, hey, I said, you guys, you know all this stuff that you guys are using, that's mine. I was like, I was never paid for this. I've never signed a contract for this. Explained the situation to them, that they took my stuff and then they started selling it and trying to start a company off of my money and off of my content and then hiring everybody with my money. They knew the whole story. Dusty and Coco decided that they were going to harass me at one of the lowest points of my life and re-victimize me as much as humanly possible and try turning the entire community against me so I could never come back. Dusty and Coco are not victims. They're convincing you guys that they're victims because they're narcissists. They believe that they can do whatever they want and that rules don't apply to them. And anytime anything happens to them that they don't like, they're victims. Dusty and Coco are fucking psychopaths. These are sociopathic perverts. They belong in fucking jail. They are absolutely 1010% guilty, just as much as Unixmad. I stood there in front of their fucking faces as the community began fucking smearing me so that they could have their toys without having to think of it as a child predation empire. And Dusty and goddamn Coco, the fucking pieces of faggot shit and Graal, ran their fucking mouths in order to re-victimize and permanently erase the children that Unixmad was robbing. They 1010%. With every intention of their nasty, disgusting, foul black hearts. 1010%. Went out on a fucking limb and started running their fucking mouths to me on the forums, talking down to me, blowing me off, telling everybody else to fucking blow me off with Darlene, and telling everybody that it's okay to rob me and it's okay to rob everybody else. They're the only ones who should be paid, even though they didn't create Graal. The people who created Graal shouldn't be paid, but Dusty, Coco, and Darlene wanted everybody to know that they should be paid and that they should control everybody else's content. Make that make sense. You can't. You can't make it make sense unless you come to the absolute conclusion that Dusty and Coco and Darlene are child predators and they fucking have no concern whatsoever for anybody else other than themselves. And that's the facts. And that is the reality that we've lived. This isn't, oh God, I wish that wouldn't have happened. This is the reality that we are living in. This is the reality that Dusty and Coco created, that Darlene created, that Unixmad created. They all fucking were in on it. People have this faggot idea that it was just Unixmad. Oh, Unixmad, Stefan, and some admins from years ago. No, it was Dusty, Coco, Darlene, Unixmad, Carlos, who were very much at the center of what was happening here. And then there were some side characters who just wanted Graal for themselves because they want to have community, but they don't want to have to create community. They don't want to have to learn skills and create video games themselves. They don't want to have to learn programming. They don't want to have to create entire worlds and communities from scratch, from the ground up. They don't want to have to do the hard work. They just want to swoop in and have a fucking community and get paid. Just like any fucking disgusting capitalist, right? They're charlatans. They're Graulian charlatans. Dusty, Coco, and Darlene were all with Unixmad co-opting this community that it's okay to rob kids. And they set up this narrative that it was okay for Dusty, Coco, and Darlene to get paid and Unixmad on work that they didn't fucking forge from the ground up. But it was okay for them to control it and to sell it and to live the children's lives for them for decades. Just live our life for me. Just go ahead. I don't need it. I guess nobody else needs it either, right? We're not really human. Even though you hear my voice, it's just words. It's just some disgruntled faggot running his mouth to you. Like they don't see us as human. They live in this world where Dusty and Coco are the only thing that matters. And they fuck each other and suck each other off. And they get fucking paid by violating kids and stealing kids' content and destroying children who are grown up who have been violated by this community that have robbed them as children and defamed them as children and defamed them as adults. And they're still living off of it. So go ahead and let's look at this fucking message here, right? So Dusty and Coco are apparently fucking married, and I hope to God you guys catch disease as one of you. You guys are going to cheat on each other. There's no way you're not. You can't rob kids and steal from them and defame them and then defame the adults of the kids who've been robbed. Like, not only were they actively preying on kids in 2015 and 2016 and all throughout the last 2 decades, but they were actively destroying the kids who were growing up and making sure that they didn't have a future too, so that Dusty, Coco, Darlene, and Unixmad could have it, and Carlos, so that they could have it. They were actively creating this narrative and Kleitman that they were the ones who were allowed to have our lives. They were the ones who were allowed to have the fun, the control, the power, the profit, the community, the communications, the good reputations that they didn't create for themselves, that they stole from other fucking people by character assassinating them and stealing their content. They were the ones allowed to have all that. They were the ones allowed to have money and security and financial security, a good place to live, shit to put on their resume that doesn't belong to them, that they lied about, lies to put on their resume, the creative platform that they didn't create. They were allowed to have this creative outlet for themselves that doesn't belong to them, that belonged to the kids that they were robbing and the other kids that they were robbing at the same fucking time. They created this atmosphere too. So Dusty and Coco had this whole atmosphere that it was just absolutely okay for them to do whatever they fucking want to children, as long as they got to enjoy themselves and profit off of it. So how they could possibly have a marriage that's not going to fucking fall apart where the other one's cheating on each other makes no sense. Either one of them is completely psychopathic and manipulating the other, or they're both psychopathic, and they're both going to be cheating on each other endlessly. So I don't know what kind of trust they think they're going to have there. You can't build a marriage off of preying off of children for decades and think that you have something real. What are you talking about? There's no trust after that. Deep down in their subconscious mind, they will never trust each other. You can't live an untrustworthy life like that, at that level, exploiting and devouring children's fucking entire lives and careers and other game creators who are bigger and better than you so that you could fucking enjoy it, using keyboard warrior tactics to defame and smear and get ahead in life. And then walk away from that unscathed without your subconscious fucking absolutely hating each other at the end of the day. They look at each other in the mirror and they see deep down inside their brain, they know you're the predator, I'm the predator. We violated and ripped off good people. How could they possibly trust each other? There's no honor among thieves. So I don't know how long or what that fake marriage is, but it's disgusting. They're basically prostitutes for pleasure because there's no way they could possibly trust each other. Look what they've done for the past 2 decades. And they want you to have this idea that they have no idea who the people are that they're robbing. This is a lie, guys. I've been around for decades. Dusty and Coco know who I am. I've talked to them face to fucking face, and they sat around and they tried to just blow me off and ignore me and tell everybody else that it's okay to rob me and that it's okay to rob children and exploit children, that children don't have rights, and that laws in America and laws in all these other countries. By the way, Graal is predominantly and has always been an English language video game created by Americans. Stefan coded a game engine, but the games were created by Americans. Pachuca, Gallon, Antago. Gallon didn't even create stuff, but he was the original moderator with Pachuca. We were all in America. Why, if there's a man in France and there's a man in Germany who speak French and German, is Graal in English? Because it's an American game. So here we have Dusty and Coco claiming that American laws don't apply. Really? Then why is Graal in English being advertised to American children for decades as the predominant backdrop and origins story of this entire community? If American laws don't apply to you, and this is what Dusty and Coco have indoctrinated and groomed a generation of children to believe, Actually, I would, yeah, an entire generation of children, Dusty and Coco, have groomed them at the dawn of this internet that it's okay to disregard Americans' laws protecting children and that you should be violated so that her and her disgusting faggot so-called husband are able to live it up without you so that they can enjoy themselves at your expense. Your country's laws don't matter. According to Dusty and fucking Coco and Unixmad and Darlene, that your country, your laws don't matter. Oh, well, Graal is not really an American game, really. It was made by Americans. It's written in American English. It was first published by us Americans. And Unixmad speaks French. He's from France. And Stefan speaks German from Germany, but the game's not in German or French. Why? Why would this, unless they were preying off of American kids and stealing content from American kids? They were targeting Americans because they knew that they could rob Americans and that they believe, here's the thing is what they believe, this is just bigotry, this is not real. Do you know that America is filled with endless poverty? We're 50 countries. We're 50 countries united under one federal. We're not one country, we're 50 fucking countries. One state is the size of one country. We are 50 different countries. They decided that it was okay to rob America because they believed at the end of the day, Americans just have all the money in the world and all the privilege and pleasure. They can do what they want to us. That's not true at all. America hasn't done anything wrong. First and foremost, we invented the internet. We invented the internet. We invented modern civil rights laws and equality laws. We are a nation filled with poverty. There's 50 of us. There's 50 nations over here. So for this idea that they're allowed to just come into America and start stealing from us because it doesn't matter, because we're just privileged, that's a fucking goddamn lie. Stefan and Unixmad had convinced themselves that it was just okay to rob Americans. They don't care. As long as, out of sight, out of mind, see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil. This is the Graal narrative. See no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil. We have reviewed the allegations against us and come to the conclusion with our mallets, our judges' mallets, that no wrongs have been committed. We have reviewed the accusations against us and come to the conclusions that no wrongs have been committed. This is the community that you're fucking living in. Dusty and Coco have forged this child predation community from the fucking ground up because they swooped in after we got robbed and started fucking creating this atmosphere that it was okay to do that. You are allowed to be robbed as a child and that your country's laws don't apply to you as long as they get to profit for doing nothing, as long as they get to steal from somebody else's children in your country, in your own country, as long as they can rob children in your country, that is fucking A-okay by them. So here we have Dusty now, like what? Apparently, he got robbed by Unixmad, which, by the way, there's no honor among thieves. Big surprise there, you idiots. Who cares? First and foremost, you deserved it. You deserved way worse than that. I hope you get hit by a fucking train, dude. I don't want to see anything good happen to you or your fucking whore girlfriend ever again. And I am calling her a girlfriend. Your marriage is fake. When it comes to, here we have Dusty, he swoops in. And where did Dusty go? He went into Reborn. And remember, guys, Reborn is this community that I forged from Monger's era. The Monger's era is what gave Reborn its fucking wings. Go look at who had led the Reborn era, and it was Viper and Hostler who got their start in Mongers. I've already showed that in the videos. That's where they got the root content. Go look at their ultimate leaks, and that's the Kazeta leaks through and through. Go look at the fucking leak chat logs. Go look at the software, the hacked logs that were used to acquire a bunch of the content and networking that I had created to start this thing. Graal Reborn is not only using a ton of my intellectual property from the Graal online sphere where I was robbed, because again, not only did I make the first pay server, I made the Graal icon, I made the icons in the level editor, I made many of the emojis, I created a ton of the software ideas, I created the first pay server again, I created Graal Destiny, I created tons of content on Graal Classic. I did tons of stuff. Other software, Graal Character Designer, and the Graal, the Graal Clock that everybody used for years. Those were my software designs I had created with Bruges over and over and over and over again. You guys, you can see that I can create software. I've just shown you guys the level editors I've created, the game simulation. I have been a programmer for decades. I am very, very good at software. Everybody fucking used my stuff, stole it, and decided that because I was an American child, they could get away with it. So he went to Reborn. He went to Graal Reborn, let me just say, because where else would he go? So he goes to the outlet that I had created, the same place that I created. And by the way, Graal Reborn is just like Unixmad. They started stealing all the fucking movement that I was creating and pretended that they created it themselves. No, they didn't. I've already showed you guys the logs. There was nothing. Viper and Hostler were fucking low-life losers before I fucking gave them Mongers. The Mongers leaks from 2001 to 2003. I spent actually it was still about 2004. I spent about 3 fucking years forging the open source community. And so where did Dusty and Coco go? Of course they went to Graal Reborn. So that they could feel better about themselves. Isn't that fucking retarded? Like, how stupid, how pathetic and, again, arrogant and entitled you have to be. He went to Graal Reborn feeling like the world owed him something after he robbed kids for decades and smeared our fucking names and created a fictitious atmosphere where devouring children's rights and disregarding the laws of minors' rights in international courts, he groomed children into that atmosphere. After doing that, he then ran to Graal Reborn after I told him, by the way, that he was going to get robbed too, just like Stefan, because Stefan is also a thief, and Dusty is literally just Unixmad. Dusty he was a Unixmad without server control. Dusty and Coco are some of the most evil people in this community has ever seen. They are 100% responsible for co-opting a child predation grooming atmosphere with fucking Unixmad for decades. It wasn't just Unixmad. There's a lot of people who are like, well, just be mad at Unixmad and shut up about it at the end of the day. No, I'm not going to. Actually, what I am going to do is I'm going to indict Dusty and Coco, and I'm going to indict Darlene, who piss on her fucking grave, and I'm going to indict Carlos, and I'm going to indict Unixmad, and a bunch of these other little admins who are helping them. But at the central core of it, for the longest time, do you know who it was? It was Rufus, Dusty, Coco mostly. Dusty, Coco, and Unixmad. Because Dusty and Coco were representing the front end of this racket. They were representing the front end PR, creative front end of the racket. And so the atmosphere that Dusty and Coco created was 1000%. They're culpable. They are culpable for it. They're culpable violent grooming operation to indoctrinate kids and manipulate them and to steal everything that they fucking could from them before the kids were able to grow up and understand how laws worked and protect themselves. Dusty and Coco forged that disgusting operation. I don't give a fuck who wants to let them off the hook. You guys have been wanting to let Stefan off the hook. You've been wanting to let Unixmad off the hook. You want to let everybody off the fucking hook so you can play your stupid fucking games. And by the way, Graal is really low quality. So you could play your stupid fucking games conscious, with a clean conscience that you have seared with an iron. It's not even real. Like, Dusty and Coco are as evil as Unixmad. They are 1010% child predators. They forged the atmosphere for years and buried the truth on purpose. And then Dusty had the goddamn nerve to go to Graal fucking Reborn looking for sympathy after he got robbed. He was already getting paid by robbing kids, and then he didn't get paid, and he was so scorned by missing one fucking payment after robbing everybody else for decades that he felt so fucking entitled, he ran to Graal Reborn for sympathy. Make that make sense. What fucking just the audacious narcissism of this disgusting fucking child-preying faggot to steal children's lives and to indoctrinate and groom you for decades. And then to run to Graal Reborn of all places. A refuge I forged as a fucking child because of what was happening to me decades ago. Still being stolen by other fucking pirates in the community. This is an offshoot of Mongers. To run to Graal Reborn, even if it wasn't, just to run to anywhere in the community and looking for sympathy I'm just speechless. I'm just disgusted. Like, as deep as you could fucking get disgusted. Dusty ran to Graal Reborn looking for sympathy because Unixmad didn't pay him for something after decades of stealing payments and lives from children. What the fuck? Yeah. For decades, they robbed kids and told everybody else to rob kids too, and told you don't have rights. One time, Dusty doesn't get paid. I don't care how long it went on or what you think you did. He was getting paid with money that didn't belong to him and stealing our lives and defaming us and character assassinating us and preying on the kids that were already preyed upon and preying upon new kids and grooming new children and telling you to disregard your nation's laws and pissing and shitting all over your country's laws that were built by your ancestors who died to protect children. He pissed and shat on it with his faggot fucking whore Coco for decades and groomed your kids in your nation today, groomed an entire generation into believing that they should piss and shit all over your ancestral laws erected to save minors and the defenseless, telling them to disregard those laws. They don't matter. Dusty, Coco, and Unixmad want what belongs to your kids. For decades, did that. And then ran screaming and crying to Graal Reborn because he didn't get paid once. As a grown-ass fucking adult devouring kids for decades. Go fuck yourself. Dusty, go fuck yourself. And anybody else who thinks that this faggot is innocent and wants to clear his name so that you could feel better about your made-up narrative that you forged in your imagination and got jerked off to or something. I don't know what would make you so attached to this fantasy in your brains about how good and innocent these people were. They weren't. They weren't. You guys, snap out of the hypnotism. Snap out. Snap the fuck out. It's not real. Dusty and Coco were right beside Unixmad, grooming children for decades. Pissing and shitting over your ancestors' graves. Pissing and shitting on their blood, on the battlefield that had been forged of millennia of human awakening, on how children operate and how we need to protect them from adults and protect them from exploitation. Dusty and Coco pissed and shit all over those laws and said, fuck you and your ancestors and your kids. Give me stuff. And then Dusty runs to Graal Reborn. Because one time he didn't get some money, some stolen money that he felt entitled to after decades of getting it. It's fucking hilarious. Fucking hilarious. All right, you guys, that's the end of this video. I just thought you guys should know the hypocrisy and disgusting self-entitlement, false self-entitlement, just infesting the so-called admins and characters of this community that you believed in. Felt entitled to get sympathy from communities erected after he had blasted kids for decades and stole their lives. Erected from kids who had their lives stolen. Graal Reborn was helped forged by myself. And then hijacked. Do you think that the people running Graal Reborn fucking earned those files or created them? No, they didn't. They stole them from the Mongers movement. I provided them for download. And it wasn't working out, so I left. But they kept going. Dusty ran there looking for validation. Because all he cares about is his ego.